Hi, I'm Jared from KTWU. Coming up, a segment from Sunflower Journeys. If you enjoy it, please consider visiting ktwu.org to make a contribution.
In our next segment, we journey across a portion of the Flint Hills as we travel along the Native Stone Scenic Byway. We start out on its eastern end, which begins along Kansas Highway 4 near Mission Creek, not far to the southwest of Topeka.
The Kansas Scenic Byways program has been in existence since 1992, when the Kansas Department of Transportation received a federal grant to start the program going, developing guidelines and criteria. What the purpose of the program is to recognize and identify the scenic routes throughout the state of Kansas, and then working with local communities, develop a plan to not only showcase the routes, but to preserve and enhance them as well for the benefit of our visitors, but also for the economic well-being of the communities.
Located not far to the southwest of Topeka, the Native Stone Scenic Byway extends for 48 miles across the eastern half of Wabaunsee County and southwestern Shawnee County. Including portions of Kansas Highways 4 and 99, there aren't very many communities along this scenic byway.
We don't have very many at all. We have Alma and Eskridge and Dover and then the Lake Wabaunsee area, which is primarily summer dwellers, although there are a number of year-round residents as well. So it's a very small community kind of place, but it's a special place nonetheless. It's an incredible journey into the Flint Hills. It's a very special place because you not only see the native stone in its natural setting, but you see what man has done with that stone in the form of buildings, wonderful architecture, as well as the stone walls that line much of the byway. One of the area ranchers has developed a wayside stop that tells the story of the stone walls. And then another rancher is visiting with the Byway Committee about putting up a kiosk at his cattle pens to tell the story of ranching.
This byway isn't very far to the north and east of the Flint Hills Scenic Byway, which runs from Council Grove to Cassidy. Those who travel along the Native Stone Scenic Byway might notice that it's somewhat similar.
It is, with a couple of exceptions. The K99 portion of the route south of Alma hugs the valley side of the Flint Hills. The vantage point is lower than what you normally do on the Flint Hills National Scenic Byway for the most part. Now that's not to say when you get on K4 it's not that wonderful majesty of incredible vistas, but it gives you those two experiences together.
Although the winding roads and the undulating landscape provide the most dramatic vistas along this byway, there are a number of notable structures and attractions that appeal to Kansas explorers. The largest community on the route, Alma, promotes itself as the city of native stone. Limestone buildings dominate the business district, providing a unique quality to this community. But the other towns have some local attractions as well.
When you get to Eskridge, you can see some of the old limestone buildings there, including the Wall Building, which was an old bank and is now an attorney's office. If you can peek in the windows, you get to see some fabulous bank architecture inside. In Dover, you have the Sage Inn, which is a fabulous bed and breakfast that you can stop at and enjoy, and there's a cafe there as well. There's a hidden treasure called Echo Cliff Park. It's a wonderful place to picnic and look at the cliff, and it's a fun hideaway. Mill Creek Skyline Drive also connects with the Byway, and it's an unpaved scenic drive, which is also a nice experience for explorers.
As the Scenic Byways program promotes tourism along these routes, local residents along newly designated routes such as this one might have some questions and concerns about the potential increase in traffic.
Those questions have been asked in other places along other proposed routes, and we work really diligently to convince people that, okay, nationally the traffic statistics indicate that if you are designated a byway, you're apt to see a 30% increase in traffic. Well, if you only have 1,000 vehicles a day, that's not a significant number of additional cars as far as the traffic is concerned, but it might be a significant number that will keep the cafe open so that locals can enjoy it as well. That's really one of the goals of the Byways, is to enhance the economic well-being of the communities along the route.
Those traveling along the Native Stone Scenic Byway need to take some extra precautions when they're touring along this byway, which includes some very windy and narrow roads.
I would suggest that people be mindful that there's very little shoulders on parts of the byway, and you want to be real safe and get your vehicle off the roadway. That's important, but certainly enjoy it while you're driving past.
Keeping this in mind, there are a number of places along the route where visitors can safely stop and walk around. And with a proper guidebook and a little imagination, you might even hear the hills speaking to you.
Those hills have lots of stories to tell.
Glad you could stop by to see a clip from Sunflower Journeys. There are more great local stories out there waiting to be discovered, but it takes help from viewers like you and me to make it happen. Visit KTWU.org right now to make a pledge.